Greetings fellow paladins, OGB here. In this video, I'm going to go over how to optimize your damage on each of the bosses in Gnomeran, as well as just a brief segment on how to use the automatic crowd pummeler. However, before we talk about any of the bosses, we need to talk about the pre-boss rituals. I'm sure you've seen warriors, rogues, and ferals all getting rage or getting combo points on a mob before boss encounters begin, and you need to be getting in on that. At the very least, you need to hit the mob one time so that you have your Sheath of Light up going into the fight. If you want to min-max this, you'll put on Seal of the Crusader for the extra attack power that it gives to increase your Sheath of Light. Now this extra spell power will go away as soon as you begin to melee the boss in Seal of Martyrdom, but what it will apply to is the exorcism that you're going to cast on the way in, before you judge Seal of the Crusader on the boss. You should do this pretty much any time you're not starting the fight directly on top of the boss with a melee attack. Now that I've covered that, let's move on to the bosses. For Grubas, run into his cave and drop a landmine before the final ad wave spawns. And then you'll fight him at the spawn in his cave. And the final tip for Grubas is drop an advanced target dummy when he spawns, or just before it. The target dummy will taunt his ad and allow your tank to taunt the boss away from it. The ad's stun will be used up on the dummy. This will allow your whole raid to just pump the boss down. For Viscous Fallout, place a landmine between where the boss will be tanked and one of the bracelets so that it gets triggered by his ads when they spawn. Your entire raid needs to pop a Nature Protection Potion for this fight, and everyone should do as much DPS as possible while ignoring the ads and killing the boss. This is where I'd like to take a brief moment to discuss the automatic crowd pummeler rotation. When you are fully hasted up with your weapon and your helmet cooldowns, you should simply try to spam Exorcism and weave Crusader Strike in when you don't have a proc. It is perfectly fine to also weave Judgment in during the haste window, but your seal duration is 30 seconds, and so is your haste effect, so if you are getting a lot of crits, you may want to just forego the Judgment and hope that you get another crit on your next melee instead. For Crowd Pummeler, there really isn't much to say. Just do the mechanics and pump the boss, and hopefully you kill him before he does his claw thing and you don't have to bop anybody. Don't forget to place your landmine, and make sure your tank drags the boss over it. For Electrocutioner, your entire raid should have a nature potion popped before the fight begins, and another one ready to go during the fight to help minimize healing. Organize your raid in a way where no one has to move away from the boss and everyone can be protected from the knockback. And if you get the magnetic pulse debuff, immediately bubble it and cancel your bubble with a macro. When the boss begins to do his knockback ability, move to the tank's position against the wall so that you stay in melee range of the boss as much as possible. Here's your secret bonus tip for this video. On the way down to Menagerie, there's a hallway full of these arcane nullifier mobs. You can use a gnomish universal remote on them to take control of them and cause them to do their reflectability on your party so that you reflect damage that the enemy mobs are doing. You can also cast their Arcane Explosion for a little more damage, and then just drop control of the mob and kill it. The Reflect itself doesn't do a whole lot for you, but because you put the ability on cooldown, it just means your raid doesn't have to worry about it. On Menagerie, you can do top damage with either the Crowd Pummeler or a slower two-handed weapon with Seal of Command. The Seal of Command build will be more dependent on cleaving all the mobs together. What you can do to maximize your damage is have a Nature Potion and a Fire Potion pre-popped for this fight, and you're going to pop a free action potion on pull so that you can attack the sheep. In order to really maximize your damage, you will need to either be cleaving the dragon, or you will have to have your dragon off tank bring the dragon over to share its overheat with the other two mobs. This is also why you need the fire protection potion. You'll see in this video I'm not exactly following my own advice, and the reason for that is my tank here does not have a pummeler, and I do, so I'm just going around hitting all the different mobs to spread my threat until everything is stable, and then I can really start pumping. The dragon will overheat every 25% of its life that goes missing. Other than that, it's just a matter of coordinating the mob's deaths and pumping them down. For the final boss, Thermop, there really isn't anything fancy for us to do to maximize our damage here, other than just sticking to our fundamentals. So understand the fight length and know how many times you will be able to use your Crowd Pummeler and how many times you will be able to use your explosives. That's really about all you can do on this guy. If you anticipate clicking the buttons at any point for any reason, it's a good idea to have a Nature Protection Potion popped for this fight, because it will absorb the button damage. Alrighty folks, school's out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or if there's some improvements that I missed, let me know so I can add them to this. OGB out.